Yo, hello, Love Wrestling. How we doing? It is Tuesday morning, December 17th. And you see Drew, you see myself, you know what that means. It is another new edition of Firmly Love Wrestling here on Love Wrestling, Firmly WWE on Tuesdays. So we are here, lots to talk about. Saturday night's main event, Monday Night Raw last night. In my hometown or my home area, Boston, Massachusetts, last night. So we'll dive into all that fun stuff. But first and foremost, before we start doing that, how we doing this lovely Tuesday, Drew?
Doing really good. Really, we're close to the new year and the end of holidays. And so,
Got a new wire? You're back to the old setup here, so I assume.
yes, this is like my first Firmly show
Yeah.
for over a week.
I was gonna say last week we had to make do because the cat had a little fun with your wires there.
Yes.
So you're back to the old setup. You're looking. I mean, you were looking fine last week too, but you're looking good. Back to the old setup, feeling good. Yeah, isn't it crazy that a week from tomorrow is Christmas? Like a week from today is Christmas Eve.
Yeah,
Bananas, huh?
wild year.
Snuck up,
Absolutely
snuck up
wild
on
year.
you. Yeah, snuck up on everybody.
But yeah, I mean, maybe. Oh, look at Ryan being all sweet and calling us.
Oh yeah,
That's sweet of him.
I appreciate you, Ryan.
We appreciate you. I maybe we didn't talk about this before, but next week we're doing a taped show.
Yeah, we're doing the recordings. Yep, for the holiday.
So, we're not going to be live next week.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe we do sort of a year in review of both companies.
Well, I mean, we are going to be. Our plan is to be live on New Year's Eve, on Tuesday, New Year's Eve. That's our return.
Oh, that's true.
So I was thinking maybe that Tuesday show, even though it is firmly WWE, I was thinking maybe that New Year's week, because it'll be New Year's Eve, we do firmly WWE, and then it'll be the day after New Year's Day, we do firmly AEW. Maybe we do kind of like a year in review of the shows.
Okay.
Unless you wanted to, I mean, again, yeah, because we don't really have, at least next week for firmly WWE, like, yeah, we're going to,
next week
there's no pay-per-view we're previewing, or like there's no, you know what I mean? So we could try to figure it out.
Actually, I think that does make sense, because for AEW there's going to be World's End. So
yeah.
So to do it the following week, that makes sense. So I agree.
Okay. That's what it is. That we talk stuff out on air. That's how we roll. All right. I mean, we probably got to start with Saturday night's main event, right? That's probably because, obviously Monday Night Raw was last night, but a lot of that was the fallout of Saturday night's main event. Part of it.
I'm very interested to see what happens on Friday.
It is. Oh yeah.
Although, here's the thing though. Friday is a taped show.
Yeah, and we won't be able to live talk about what happens on Friday because we're not going to be on here next Tuesday to talk about what happens on Friday, because we're going to be taped. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we're gonna talk about it, though.
Are we? Are we gonna tape? We're gonna tape after. We're taping after the
Yeah, we'll
weekend.
tape after Raw next week,
All right, that makes sense. All right,
like we
good. I
did
was like,
last time.
it's Christmas week. I'm like, I don't know what the schedule is for everybody. It's a busy
Yeah.
week. It's a busy week. But all right, Drew. Saturday night main event on Long Island. Was this at? This was at the Nassau Coliseum, was it
Yes, it
not?
was.
Yeah, this was at the Nassau Coliseum on Long Island. On NBC. Big time show for
Which I
WWE.
watched. How did you watch it? Did you watch it on NBC or
I
Peacock?
watched it live on NBC. Yeah.
So did I.
Yeah. It was good. It was
Yeah.
good. 5 matches. Um, I thought first and foremost, before we dive into the matches, I thought the nostalgia part of it, I thought they knocked out of the park. I thought they knocked out of the park. I thought the
Yeah,
intro
I will
video,
agree with that. Yeah.
yeah. I thought the intro video with like the old CRTV thing they showed, and then how they kind of turned it into the new one, the music. I loved the entryway for the wrestlers, how it was very narrow, where the fans were right
Yeah,
there.
very,
Had the
very
old
limited
barricades.
screen and,
Yeah, no
old school
screen.
feeling.
Yes, I love that. The security was like walking behind the wrestlers, just in like it just felt like an old school vibe like that. How we doing, Anthony? Thank you for popping in the chat, my
Hello,
friend.
sir.
Hope you're having a fine Tuesday. Yeah, Ryan, I agree. I agree. I think they absolutely nailed the feel of Saturday night's main event. That was the first thing I did. I love the referees wearing the old blue shirts with the bow ties. I love Tessitore when he
Yeah.
was wearing the red, how he said he was wearing the red bow tie for Mean Gene, and they had that standing kind of old school thing where they used to do the interviews in the 80s and early 90s for. I thought they nailed the presentation. They nailed the feel.
How friggin' awesome was Jesse Ventura?
I wanted to get I wanted to get into him because I thought he was awesome. He was awesome. I thought you could tell he was a little not nervous, but he was a little at the beginning. I thought, oh, we're gonna get there, buddy.
Oh, we're gonna get there.
Oh, we're gonna get there, buddy. And I think you might not. Yeah, we're gonna get there. We're talking a little Saturday night's main event first, and then we'll be transferring over to Raw, Anthony. So strap in, brother. But we are gonna be talking about that thing. Let me tell you. So you know what? That makes sense. Yeah, I feel like the Outrunners on Saturday night's main event would have made sense because that is definitely their vibe as well. I love Jesse Ventura. I thought personally at first when he was doing the stand-up thing with Tessitore, you could tell he was a little rusty at first. But other than that, that would have been okay because that
You know
would have
what?
had an old school feel, just Scott. That would have been
Actually, I will agree with that
yeah.
because Tessitore has, like, that old school announcer type sound to him, like
Oh my
Mean
God, yeah.
Gene. So that
Yeah.
actually would have been a really good idea if they did that.
Yeah. But my thing is, yeah, so I thought Ventura at first when he was doing the stand-up stuff with Tessitore, I thought he was good, but I thought he was kind of, a little rusty or whatever. I thought when he was on commentary for the main event, I thought he was excellent. I thought he was excellent during that match with Cody
Yeah.
and KO. Like I thought he was in his element. I could tell he was feeling way more comfortable at the desk. And he was being that heel. He was questioning the referee, questioning Cody. Like he was just being that kind
Yeah,
of
it was really nice.
straightforward heel at the desk, which we don't get that on. Like I know Corey Graves can do a little heel stuff here or there, but it's not that straightforward heel at the table like there used to be in the old times more, And Ventura, I thought he was great.
Corey
I thought he was
Graves
great.
tries to play that,
Yeah.
but it just doesn't sound right coming from him for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was really good. I thought by the time he was sitting at the table, I thought, as it went, the first one at first, he was a little like, he cracked a couple corny jokes and it was kind of like, all right, yeah, you're getting your feet wet again. But I thought when they went back to him the second time and when he was at the desk, I was like, he was in his
he's
feeling it now. Like he's feeling it now, I thought it was really well done. I didn't think he sounded off, Anthony. I thought he was, you could tell he was a little nervous at first, I thought. but I thought he sounded great. Another thing that happened on this show, Drew, is Pat McAfee returned.
Yeah, that
so
was
that
cool.
So that was good. He was at the table with Michael Cole and Jesse Ventura, obviously later on in the evening. So Pat McAfee returned. I assume we won't see him again until the Raw on Netflix. That's when I think he's coming back kind of full time again to do Raw with Michael Cole, I believe, again. So, yeah, but it was good. It was good. I thought, as far as the presentation goes, I thought they crushed it. I thought they absolutely crushed it.
Yeah.
For anybody in the chat, obviously we roll with you guys. If you want to guarantee that your question, your comment, your observation gets shown on the screen, just send us a super chat, my friends. If you send a super chat, you are guaranteed to get your comment, your question, or anything like that shown on the screen. Otherwise, any comments that we see, we'll kind of do what we normally do. We include you guys all the time, but I just wanted to get that across, that if you do send a super chat, not only does it help us on screen, it helps us continue to provide you with these shows that we do here at Love Wrestling, but you are guaranteed to get your comment shown on the screen. So if you ever feel delighted to do so, give us money. Anyway, the show opened Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn. This match was the last match added to this card. This match wasn't originally supposed to be on this card. The rumor was this was supposed to be the blow-off match between Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed, but obviously Bronson Reed got injured in War Games. We wish him a speedy recovery. They said he's going to miss Mania, which sucks because he was on a trajectory where he was going to do something.
He would have had
special.
a Mania match for sure.
Yes, 100%. So that kind of sucks. Not doesn't kind of suck. That just sucks. But hopefully he, is going. He's healing. He had his surgery. I've seen all the photos. Hopefully he gets back sooner than later because that guy had a breakout year. But we open with Drew and Sami. Music Inferno, I was with you. I kind of came in thinking that Drew would win. I felt like he had just come back. Winning was the right thing. I'm interested what they're doing with Sami here moving forward, because it feels like a lot of Sami's friends are kind of, or Seth, and they're kind of questioning him. I wonder if a CM Punk little thing is in his future, because Sami Zayn hasn't been talking that great about CM Punk in his promos, even though he's not like talking trash about him, but he's openly been like, I didn't want to team with that guy. I didn't want to be around him. What, you think I wanted to do it? I have a feeling like CM Punk's going to take umbrance. Like, I thought of using a fancy word. Is it umbrance? Was that what's the,
I think it's umbrage.
Umbrage. Is that what it is? I was trying to use the fancy word, but it's too early. Sure. I still have too much of my coffee left, so my brain's not working that proper. I was like, I'm going to try to use the fancy word. No, that didn't work.
It's umbrage.
Umbrage. Yeah. And I could tell that Sami, I could see CM Punk taking umbrage with that and being like, oh, you didn't have to say those type of things. But Sunday Sinner, how we doing, friend? How are you? But I thought this was a good opener. Drew McIntyre does get the victory with the Claymore kick. But I thought this match was as good as you would expect from these two. I thought it was a good, solid, fun opener, back and forth battle between Drew and Sami.
Yeah, it was really like a sprint. It didn't have any low points, start to finish. And I really would, it's starting to, judging from what happened on SmackDown, on Raw, I mean, it kind of feels like maybe we're getting into kind of what I was talking about. A group of people that are anti-OG bloodline. There might be something going on there. Where maybe they form a little group of their own to take down. Would be interesting. But yeah, this was a really fun match to start the show. It was the only match that did not involve a title.
Yep.
So it was a proper opening, I would feel. And I think we will be seeing now somebody I wanted to address Anthony's thing when he said, when you guys look at Drew, is he a pure heel or would you say he's in the gray area? I kind of feel like these days heels aren't really like heels, like 80s heels, 90s,
Mm.
like there's like I think there's like a classification where you could say some heels are in that like gray area.
Yep.
I would call a gray area. So this all right, so a baby face, we all know what a baby face is. Nobody has to explain that.
Yeah.
I would say a real like a true heel is a person who is not concerned with how the crowd feels about them.
I agree. Yeah,
That's
I
like an
agree.
MJF, like a who in honestly, I would go as far as to say the new bloodline.
I was gonna
There's
say
like true heels.
Solo Sikoa to me is as true a heel in WWE as anybody. Gunther, even though they've been teasing babyface stuff with him lately, but like Gunther is like a guy that has basically been presented as an old school heel. Like I don't care what you think about me. I do it in the ring. I'm the
Right,
best.
yeah.
Nobody can beat me. I do what I have to do.
Ludwig Kaiser.
Kaiser is a good one. Yeah. I think the new bloodline, especially Solo, is a true, like, I know you hate me. I'm going to get all that heat. I don't care. Like, Braun Breaker's a tweener, man. Braun Breaker's a tweener.
No,
You can't,
Braun Breaker's
you,
not a heel.
they're not even close. You can't be a heel and get on the mic and say, "Hey, Boston, we got any dogs?" And that's not you being a heel, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not you being a heel. If you're getting the crowd to chant anything, you're not a heel. You're not a heel. So, but
You know what though?
they've come out and they've said that Braun, they want to be a tweener. They want him to be.
I'm gonna say this though. New bloodline heel, Jacob Fatu. He teeters.
Well, I
'Cause,
think that's because people respect what he does.
he's
Like people know how good he is.
he's got the, I love you, Solo,
Yeah.
and the shirt thing. I'm still waiting for that shirt, WWE. But I feel like he's just like he bounces in between gray area and actual heel.
Also.
'Cause they all know that. Well, you said it, not me. But I I really do have that like the gray area. I think is a heel that is their character is kind of geared towards the truth,
Yeah.
like Drew McIntyre. Like
Yeah.
he's beating up baby faces,
Mhm.
but he's not doing it because of necessarily the baby face themselves, that because they're a baby face.
Mm.
He's doing it because it's a what's the word I'm looking for? It's like in his life, it feels like it's a shit. I can't think of the word.
I don't know. I don't know where you're going. I don't know where you're going with this.
He's like it's based
Submission?
it's based off of his true feelings of the world.
Yeah.
That is like it's not about the crowd. It's not about oh, I'm a bad guy and you're a good guy, so I'm gonna beat you up.
Yeah.
It's based in truth. It's based in his
Just a,
perspective. That's what I was
yeah.
thinking of. It's based
Yeah.
on his perspective of the world,
Mhm.
and he's gonna beat up someone regardless of their alignment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like
Yeah.
a Drew McIntyre, a who else? A I'm trying to just keep it in WWE, but I'm having a hard time. Kevin Owens.
Well, Kevin Owens is a heel because of what he's doing.
Mm.
Not because of the mentality, but the things he's doing, the acts that he's doing, that is heel.
I don't,
He Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes have left arenas in stretchers with neck
okay,
injuries
I'll
and
say,
spinal injuries
okay, wait.
because of what Kevin Owens is doing. He might, in
I
his
will
brain,
say
he might be justifying that he's not a heel, but his
Randy
actions
to
are
Randy. he was a heel. To Cody,
after the match, the way he did it, heel.
Well,
The
with the
match is
package
over,
pile
man.
driver,
The match is over. Another banned move. Match is over, and we'll get there. Obviously, that's the main event of the show. That's the big story that came out of this.
I'm having it. It's for me. For me, I'm having a little bit of a hard time calling him.
I mean, I'm not. I like Kevin Owens. I wanted Kevin Owens to win. I prefer Kevin Owens. He's my favorite performer in all of WWE. But for me, I mean, like, again, I think the things that Kevin Owens is saying are factually correct. They are factually correct how he feels about Cody and the situation. I agree
Because that's the other thing too.
with Kevin.
You can't just think of Kevin's motivations and what Kevin is thinking. You have to think of the person that he is. Randy, 100% a heel. He did not deserve that at all. So
Yeah, but Cody didn't
I
either.
totally agree with him. But when it comes to Cody,
Cody deserved to be viciously attacked after the match with his back turned.
But the thing is that
there's no way other than heel.
I don't agree. Okay,
there's no way other than heel.
He didn't deserve that.
Back is turned.
But
after the match,
Cody did something that caused Kevin to now feel the way that he's feeling. It's not like what he did to Randy. And technically Randy hit him first. Technically, but
now you're skirting the lines, right? Because now it's like I'm not saying that, again, what Kevin is saying about why he's upset at Cody for teaming with Raw, like, he is justified, and I don't disagree with Kevin.
This is just a plain fact.
I don't disagree with Kevin. But what you are sounding like, Drew, is you're sounding like, oh, you robbed a bank. Kevin Owens is the man. You robbed a bank, Drew, and you got arrested for robbing a bank. And you're talking to the cops, and they're like, dude, you robbed a bank. And you're like, yeah, but this has happened to me. This has happened to me. This has happened to me. So that's why I robbed the bank. And you want the police to be like, oh, okay, that's fine. Oh yeah. You know what I mean? So, like, that's how I view this when it comes to the Kevin Owens thing. Like, to me, Kevin Owens has been acting like a heel way more than Drew McIntyre's been acting like a heel. Drew McIntyre, again, they're both. Listen, once you start attacking people from behind and doing band moves and they're leaving on stretches,
because Kevin feels slighted. Drew doesn't feel slighted. He's more just upset.
He's just bitter. Drew's just bitter.
Drew is bitter, but Kevin, this isn't like
Kevin's hurt because Cody was his friend. Kevin's hurt. That's what that is.
You think he's been more heel than Drew? Or Drew has been more heel than Kevin Owens?
I mean, that would suit your. I mean, I guess. I don't know. I look at this, and again, this is someone who's pro Kevin Owens.
I just remembered something. You know what? I actually have to agree with Sinner. I have to agree with Sinner because of the Busted Open interview that Drew did.
I did not see this.
Where he? Oh, you didn't see this?
Holy no, I don't. Shit. I don't really pay attention to Busted Open at all.
They did something over I think it was on like Friday or Thursday or Friday of last week.
Yeah.
Where he just like, he really said like, I don't give a fuck about. He said fuck. I don't care.
When I got an interview with Drew, he said fuck too. And at SummerSlam, he said fuck.
That's
a good point, Scott.
I was going to get to that.
That's a good point,
Scott.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
We're on the same wavelength, Scott.
That's a good point. I get it.
And again, well, forget about Drew. We're talking about Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens was pushed down by the bloodline.
Yep. Arguably more than anybody. Arguably more than anybody that wasn't in the bloodline.
His very good friend that he had been on the side of since he returned to the company, that he helped multiple times, he got put in a situation where he did not turn down helping Roman Reigns, even though he could have. He could have stuck to his guns, and he could have said, "No, I'm not doing it. This isn't about me. Yeah, they can attack me, they can do whatever." He could have did what Seth Rollins did. He could have vehemently said no and left it at that. And Kevin would have, if then Kevin turned 100% just unjustifiable heel. No way that I would have agreed that he was in that gray area. But because his friend, now again with Randy, I will say, while Randy did not do anything justifiably for Kevin Owens to attack him, Kevin did not attack him unprovoked. Technically, if you want to talk technical, he did not attack Randy unprovoked. Randy did attack him first.
Okay.
Just technical. So, but I'm not saying that it was justified. I'm just saying that technically Randy did shove him and get angry at him, which then led to Kevin Owens getting angry and attacking him. So, but it's, again, not justified. With Cody went against his friend, against the person that he knew he was very much against, somebody that, we're good friends, and Pluggo is like, you go away for a while and Pluggo takes over Firmly, and then Pluggo is like a real piece of shit to me and kicks me off the stream and brings in somebody else and has a team of people constantly pushing me down. And then you come back and my friend JPJ, and you're back on the stream with me, and then you go, "Oh, somebody's hurting Pluggo. I gotta go help Pluggo." I'm gonna feel hurt by that.
Okay, but that wouldn't justify you breaking my fucking neck. It wouldn't at all. You have a conversation with somebody.
But then, when we have our match, that's supposed to be, amicable between the two of us.
Yeah. Who brought the chair in the ring?
Who used the chair?
Doesn't matter. Who brought the chair in the ring?
He could have pushed the chair away. He could have pushed the chair away.
In that moment, when you're trying to win and keep a championship in a competitive nature, Kevin Owens, and again, you're making me talk negative about a guy that I wanted to win the fucking match. I wanted KO to win the match. I wanted KO to actually leave with that belt. Like, actually, because I know he left with the belt, and he has it, but I wanted him to actually win and actually leave the champion with that belt. So I'm not anti-Kevin Owens, but I'm not going to sit here and hear people tell me that what Kevin Owens has been doing is not heel.
Kevin brought the chair in the ring.
Because he was going to use it until he got caught by the ref, and then Cody did what he had to do. I like a babyface that does what he has to do. You were going to hit me over the head with that chair, so guess what? This is a little taste of your own medicine, buddy. Bring this shit in here. What's the saying that the kids say? Fuck around and find out, right? Is that what the young people say now? To fuck around and find out. Kevin Owens fucked around and he found out. All right? And then afterwards,
and then Cody fucked around and found out.
Exactly, which is where we are. And don't get me wrong, can I tell you how my body felt when I saw that package pile driver? Can I tell you? Let me tell you, because I had a feeling go through my body when I saw that package pile driver that I have not had in pro wrestling in a while. There was a comment earlier. Anthony said that Drew McIntyre is justified in the way he's acting. because in his head he thinks the fans didn't respect him and stuff like. I get that. Again, I understand that. It's just one of those things to me where like you can justify everything you want in your brain. That's how most people do evil shit. Is because in their brain they've justified that the shit they're doing ain't evil. That's why people do evil things. And in the wrestling world, yes, Drew can justify however he wants. And again, a lot of heels sometimes, and in this case with both Kevin and Drew, when they're justifying and telling us why they're doing the things they're doing, I don't necessarily disagree with either of them. But once you start attacking people from behind, attacking people in scenarios that are not of a competitive nature, are not of that, you are doing heel dastardly shit. Period. End of story. And yeah, like
I'm not saying it's not dastardly. I'm just saying in some cases it's justified.
okay. I happen to think that after a match, attacking someone
I have a
to the
question.
point where they have to leave on a stretcher is not it's not a justifiable act. It is not
Two
a
friends of
justifiable
ours,
act.
two friends of ours almost had a heated argument yesterday about a topic. I saw you were in their chat a little after that. So I don't know if you went back and watched it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Do you think
Yes.
that the attack and post-match angle should have happened on TV?
No, I actually kind of like that it happened the way it happened. I actually kind of like the way it happened. I mean, look, I'm not gonna say that I don't think it shouldn't have been on TV. Like, I feel like if that, yo, Johnny, what's going on, man? Thank you for popping in,
Hey,
dude.
Johnny.
Appreciate you. I happen to think that if it would have happened on TV, I think it would have been equally as effective and equally as good. But I kind of like the fact that it didn't. To me, the stuff they've been doing with KO, like the stuff that they did in the back in front of the fans when KO first attacked him, and then this type of thing. I kind of like how they involve the fans like that a little bit. You know what I mean? Like that thing broke for the first time after Saturday night's main event. And it broke because the fans were sharing it on their phone. Because they, I like them using that aspect occasionally. You know what I mean? Because they clearly filmed it. We saw it on Raw, the highlights. Like they have the WWE regular footage of it clearly. But when it first broke, all you were seeing was fan cell phone footage of it. You know what I mean? Until WWE actually released everything. I kind of like that. I understand why somebody
So
would
you
say,
took Joel's side on that.
yeah, I understand why I assume Jeremy's side. Well, I don't know if you're leaning that way, but like I understand why somebody would say that should have been on television. But I also think it's cool to do things differently sometimes. I thought it happened perfectly, social media wise, fan interaction wise. I thought it was good.
Yeah, I feel like because it was a special, and like we're
Mm,
gonna get the ratings on that today, probably, like how that did ratings
yeah,
wise. If you had like over 3 million people watching that show,
yeah.
I don't know how you don't do that on TV. Because that's
Yeah, but
like,
what's the thing they showed on the graphic of Raw last night, that clip of Kevin Owens doing that has over 40 million views on social media.
but the views on social media, and this is what Jeremy was saying yesterday. This was on In the Weeds, by the way, for people who aren't aware of what we're talking about. What Jeremy was saying yesterday is that there are people,
And this is another good point by
well,
Lawrence as well.
they could have just booked it in a way to have the last 4 minutes be that angle. I mean, and then go off the air like in the old, like Triple H coming out and shoving the belt out of his hand and them back and forth, and then you cut there. Holy shit. That would have been the way to end that on NBC. 100%.
Yeah.
Um, I'm just, because what Jeremy was saying is that it's because it's special thing being taped. It's something live on television that hasn't been done for over 15 years? A
Mhm.
Saturday Night's Main Event? That's gonna get people from back from the nostalgia
Mhm.
times, from, the '80s, from whenever I don't remember the last time they did it. I think it was like 2006 or something. People lapping
2008, I
bands
believe,
back
but yeah.
then
Mm.
just to, like, "Oh, wow, that's a Saturday Night's Main Event. I haven't seen that in a long time. I remember how that was. Let me tune in and see what's going on." And that type of an angle, that ending type of an angle was a very old school angle.
Mm. I agree.
To have that happen on TV for however many people were watching that,
Mhm.
if you put it on social media, it's still gonna get 40 million social media views. But you reward this was the craziest part of yesterday's In the Weeds, is that Joel was basically saying, "Why reward the television viewer?" Which is that's just that's kind of a crazy thing, almost a Vince McMahon-esque thing to say from 2002 to
I
2020.
mean, I don't view
But
it that way, though. I don't view it that way at all. You tuned into the show, you watched the show, you got the show. Now something happened after the show, so
but when you have a
if you liked what you
that's
saw
like
on
the
Saturday, you turn on Monday. Yeah, you got new eyes to the program on Saturday night, but the goal isn't just to get new eyes on Saturday night. The goal is to have them continue with you on the journey on Mondays and Fridays and things like that. And I understand running an angle will do that, but if you watched the show and you enjoyed the show, and then you have social media and you see that something happened on the show you just watched on social media, you watch that and you go, "Oh shit. Oh, that happened after the show. Well, damn, now I need to watch on Friday to see what the fuck happened." That's the point.
well, so Joel was saying that they were doing it to promote ticket sales more than viewers.
Well, that might be true because they make their money off of that more than they do viewers,
Yeah,
like
I don't know,
ticket
because it
sales
feels
and
like
things like
if you're
that.
gonna I'm so this is here, I can give you a good example of why I feel that it would be better to have done it on TV.
Yeah.
When I was flipping through channels one night in 2012, I come home from work, like, 8:40, 8:45, whatever, I'm flipping through channels, which sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Back when I had cable back then, I don't flip through channels anymore. That's an
Who
antiquated,
does?
old,
Yeah,
ancient
I
type
was gonna
of
say,
a
who
thing.
does that anymore? But
Flipping through channels, I come up to the USA Network, and I see Monday Night Raw,
hmm,
and I don't remember what match was on TV at that time. I'm like, "Oh, I haven't watched this in a long time." And there was something that intrigued me enough that I was like, "Oh, I gotta let me keep watching this. Let me see what's going on."
mhm.
At the end of that show, John Cena comes out. This is the night after WrestleMania 28.
Oof. Okay.
Then John Cena comes out. I'm like, "Oh my god, that's John Cena." I know that he's from WWE. I didn't know he was still in WWE. He was in the Marine. He was doing other
This
things.
is hypothetical, or is this actually you?
No, this is me.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, Brock Lesnar comes out. I
Mm.
have no fucking idea who Brock Lesnar is. Never seen him before. Never heard of him. But the crowd is hyped for him.
Oh yeah.
He gets in the ring and he starts attacking John Cena.
Mhm.
They're fighting back and forth, and a
Okay.
whole slew of people from the back come in to separate them, and and John's bloodied, and it's like this huge fight thing, and I'm like, "Oh my god, this feels like how it used to be."
Mhm.
If that Brock Lesnar thing happened on off air, I don't think I would have tuned in next week.
Okay.
Now that was back then.
Yeah. Again, yeah, it's a different.
With
That's a different thing, though, to me.
now, I don't think that I think because this is this is a television product, if you're going to do an angle like that, that is clearly a what is gonna happen next type of a thing, you gotta show that on TV. Because there might be some people who turned into the first Saturday night's main event in 15 however years that haven't been watching WWE as much
Mhm.
and went, "Holy shit, what the hell was that? I gotta see what happens next." Some people that the 40 million social media viewers, that metric is not 40 million different individual people checking out social media. We know that that's not what Twitter impressions and all
Yeah.
that stuff is. That's just like, oh, that's like, "Oh, yeah, we sold over 200,000 tickets to a two-night WrestleMania." No, you didn't. You sold 100,000 tickets twice. You didn't There were not 200,000 individual people like you're marketing it to be. It was the same amount of people there 2 times. Who are we kidding?
Yeah.
You know, it's that type of, that's what the social media, "Oh, this says 40 million, this has 50 blah, blah, blah." I could sit here and click on something 500 times. Guess what? I just gave something 500 views. You know, you can't account that stuff. That's just
Yeah, but
marketing,
for them,
blah, blah.
yeah, but for them, where they, like Sinner says, they make revenue off of that. They do. Because those 40 million people give them revenue for tuning in. Because WWE is a machine that makes money off of that.
But they're not making $40 million off of it.
No, but they're making more money by doing that and then bringing it to their social medias than they are by just showing it on free TV on Saturday night after the show. They're making more
Still
money.
would've there so I gotta harken back to what Jeremy said. There are things that get millions of views on YouTube, on Twitter, wherever, even when it's on free TV.
I agree. And I think Center brings up a good point too. They did show it on TV, just not on Saturday. They ended the show on a happy note, gave the fans a feel good moment who were watching at home, and then they waited a few days to burst their bubble. And I just feel like again in today's world, doing things like that, social media wise, or after the show, or like things that are different. I just feel like that is an added element. I don't think it takes away from anything. Don't get me wrong. I understand the argument of, well, what if somebody was watching for the first time in a long time, or what if somebody was watching for the first time? Okay, if they were, they got a pretty good show on Saturday. They got a pretty good show. They got 5 really good matches, title changes, good matches. And, I get it. I get it. Like, yeah, would it have been cool to show that angle on television and have them going, oh man, that was pretty badass, whatever. But in today's world, it's not that hard to see that happen. And it's just, I don't know. I just feel like the majority of us have phones. The majority of us have social media. So if you tuned in on Saturday for the first time in a long time, or for the first time ever, if the show didn't make you want to stay, I mean, I don't know what yeah, an angle might make you watch the show, but if you didn't like the core of what you saw on Saturday night, you're not going to like the core of what you see on Friday when you tune in. You know what I mean? Like it's just
I
kind
feel
of
like the core of an old school show would have ended with an old school heel angle beating up on the championship babyface, and the owner, quasi owner of the
the
company,
COO.
coming out and confronting the big bad heel, and the show going off the air like that. That's like a classic cliffhanger.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Look, I don't think it was I don't think they win or lose either way. I really don't. I think either way
No,
they did it.
I don't think that there's a true there's no winning here. I
Yeah.
think I mean, judging from do the ratings go up as a result of this? Everyone wins. I
Yeah.
just like doing an angle like that on TV makes more people like me, a Laps fan for 12 years that came back and saw a old school type of a brawl for the first time.
Well, I mean, all you got to do is turn into the beginning of Raw, and you see that every fucking week now.
Yeah.
6 weeks in a row. 6 weeks in a row. Raw has opened with a promo that turns into a fucking brawl. Now, again, they're entertaining. They're fun. But can we change it up a little bit? Can we change up
There were
the
like 3
formula?
brawls on the show too.
Literally 6 weeks in a row. Raw has started with the promo that turns into a brawl. Come on now. Switch it. You couldn't have had the IC title match first last night. You couldn't have opened the show with the IC title match first and then did that brawl segment in the 9 o'clock hour just to switch up the formula instead of doing the same thing at the beginning of the show every single week. Again, entertaining segments, but for the love of God, guys, switch the formula up. Come on. I was sitting there doing the watch along. I had Peggy with me, Ophelia with me last night. And I'm sitting there, and Punk comes out. He does his little promo, and I'm like, all right, this is all right. I go, who's coming out to start the brawl this week? Who's doing it? Is it Brett? Is it Seth? Sammy? Someone's coming out and brawling with them, and lo and behold. Anyway.
So let's go through Saturday night's main event.
Yeah. So we had the opening match, which was a good opener. Sorry. Then we had our first of 4 championship match. I thought that this was Liv Morgan's best match in a while. Io Sky versus Liv Morgan for the WWE Women's World Championship. Part of the reason why I thought it was Liv's best match in a while is because Io Sky is remarkable. She is tremendous. So good. This was a very good match. Back and forth. Io is just one of those people that you could put her in a crowd of people who have never seen her before. And by the time the match is over, that crowd is 100% of that crowd is going to be wanting her to win. That's the type of performer she is. She is just special. But Liv Morgan does retain. She hits Oblivion to retain the world championship. And now kind of Io is kind of dropping, she kind of drops back into kind of where is she going to go from here?
That knee, it almost looked like her face was going to be broken.
Oh, the knee to Liv? Oh, yeah, she was bleeding. Yeah. It looked like that was kind of like, she really got her there. That was really good. Io Sky goes for a moonsault later on in the match. It looks like she's going to get the victory, but Liv gets the boots up, which knocked her into the ropes. We hit Oblivion, and Liv Morgan once again retains and is still the WWE Women's World Champion.
She's had that championship for like 100 and...
Yeah, she's had it for a while.
200 days.
SummerSlam, right? She won it at SummerSlam? She was already the champion. No, she beat it from Rhea, right? Is it SummerSlam?
Beat Rhea, yeah.
Yeah, so August, beginning of August. It's pretty good. And look she's technically, she won the one in Saudi there too. She's had a great year. You can make an argument that Liv Morgan has had one of the stronger years in
Some
WWE.
People aren't really that much of a fan of this angle.
That's fine. Look, it's subjective. Yeah. But
I actually don't mind it.
I don't
because it's been highly entertaining.
Oh yeah.
To me.
But I mean, obviously we'll talk about what happened on Raw, but they're continuing. We're going a certain route because after this match, Liv, Raquel are making their way up the ramp to leave, and Rhea Ripley's music hit. She comes out. Yep. I think that was just hey, we need the people on NBC to see this woman. We need to get her out there so they see her and go, what the hell? If nobody's ever seen Rhea Ripley before, and you tuned in on Saturday and you saw her come out in that moment, there are people that are looking at that going, who is this person? Who is this? Because that's kind of how different Rhea looks than everybody else. You see a Rhea Ripley and you're like, what the hell? I didn't know humans look like that. I didn't know humans could look like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's like one of those things, So I think that was WWE saying, hey, we need to get this person on television so people who might not have ever seen this person can see this person. Because you see someone like that and you'll be like, that I need to tune in and watch what, So they do that. They kind of square up, and that's stuff that kind of ends that. And then we go into our triple threat match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. It was Damian Priest and Finn Balor challenging the champion, Gunther. This was another good match, Drew.
Yeah.
This was a good one.
There were multiple moments in this match where it
I
looked
thought
like
Finn
he
was going to win it.
switching.
I thought Finn was going to win it. I kind of went in thinking, oh, Finn could steal one here. Sinner, I agree with you. I thought this triple threat match was the best match of the night. Very, very good back and forth. I thought Finn could sneak one. However, at the end of the day, Gunther, and I thought the finishing sequence from Gunther in this match was incredible. He saved Damian Priest's life, really. He was going to do a power bomb on the steel steps, and when he was lifting up Priest's foot hit the steps, which caused not all the weight, and it looked like he was going to drop Priest on his head. And Priest is a big boy, and it looked like Gunther was going to drop him, but he didn't. He just took a deep breath and just continued to lift him up, and he hit the power bomb on the steps, and then he went in the ring. He hit his shotgun drop kick into another powerbomb on Finn Balor to get the win. I thought that this match was really good. It was back and forth between all three men, and I loved at the end of the match.
By the way,
yeah,
I just wanted to say, I know it was mentioned about Jacob Fatu earlier, but Damian Priest.
Oh yeah. Damian Priest is up there. I love the way that it just seemed like at one point towards the end of this match, Gunther just said, "The hell with this. I'm done with this," and he just kind of flipped the switch real quick, took care of business, and ended the match and got out of there. I liked it a lot. I agree with Sunday Sinner. I do think this was the best match of Saturday night. Excellent triple threat match. And Gunther once again prevails and is still the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Sorry, Drew.
Yeah, this was the opening match, I think, was the second best match of the night.
Yep, I liked Sammy and Drew. I thought it was great.
Because I would have been like, oh, wow, that's a tough one to beat. And then they did this match, and I was like, oh, boy, this was good tonight for sure. They gave you those moments where it's like, oh, is Finn going to get it? I actually did think Finn was going to win this.
I did too.
But it's like, we don't know now really what the next thing for Gunther is going to be. Because Damian and Finn are not going after the world title anymore. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, this was great, and hopefully it's not Goldberg.
I think it's possible. I think it's possible. All right. And then we had the finals in the WWE Women's United States Championship Tournament. It was Chelsea Green going up against Michin Mia Yim. This match was the quickest match on the show. Wasn't a bad match. It was a fine match. But the moment was what everybody was kind of waiting for. And the winner in the first ever, the inaugural, first of all, let me say, the reversal in the corner to get to the Unpretty Her by Chelsea Green to end this match, very good. Very, very good. But the winner of this match and the first ever, the inaugural WWE Women's United States Champion is the one, the only Chelsea Green, Drew, as she defeated Michin. 100% Center. I think a lot of us feel that way. We are all it was one of those things where that 3 count happened, and I think collectively wrestling fans were like, good for Chelsea Green. Good for Chelsea Green. And that very rarely happens in today's world. There's always somebody that hates on something. And I felt like the Chelsea winning on Saturday and getting that moment, I felt like was one of those moments where almost all wrestling fans had the same thought, where we were like, hell yeah, like good for her. Good for her. The match itself, I thought was fine. Nothing spectacular, but I thought it was solid. I thought it was fine, but really, really exciting to see Chelsea Green kind of get her flowers. She has been an MVP since she's come back, and she's just made everything she does entertaining, and it was well deserved. I would have been okay with any result in this match because I think both women deserve to be in this match, because I think Mia Yim is kind of underrated the year that she's had. But I loved it.
was
I'm so
totally
happy for
wrong
Chelsea.
about this tournament.
Yeah, you thought it was
I
going
had
to be star-studded, and I was like, no, it should be used in this way to
and I'm
elevate
seeing
people.
now
And they're going to do it on the IC too.
from the IC title. Yeah, this is truly defining the mid card,
And which is what they need.
and I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah. Like I would have understood Bailey winning this title. I completely would have. To establish
But then
it,
it
have
makes it
somebody
like a main event title.
Exactly. Like this should be a mid-card title. And in history, usually not the last 10, 15 years, because the old man had no fucking clue what he was doing. But like usually mid-card titles are to, like you said, establish the mid-card and align with kind of who's next. Okay, these champions, these people that are fighting for these mid-card titles, yeah, they're fighting for the mid-card titles now, but the reason they are is because down the line in the not-so-distant future, they're going to be fighting for main titles. That's what the mid-card is for, to kind of elevate and push up people towards the next level of championships.
If you want that chat acknowledged, you pay for a super chat first, sure, and then I'll acknowledge it.
There we go. All right, there it is.
You pay me.
Sunday, I think the finals of the IC tournament, I think it's going to be Dakota Kai versus Lyra. I think that's where we're going.
Yeah, I'm 100% on board. Lyra Valkyria is winning the IC title, 100%.
I think I think it's either her or Dakota. The more that it goes on with the Damage Control kind of Pure Fusion Collective thing, it makes me think that maybe they will go in Lyra's direction. Because when this tournament first came out and I saw the brackets, myself, I was like, Dakota Kai. No questions asked, Dakota Kai. They had been giving her those vignettes on Raw, and I was like, this is 100% Dakota Kai's tournament to lose, but I think Lyra is kind of right up there with her. I do think, obviously, Raw was taped. They did a double taping in Boston last night. I have not watched any spoilers. I have not read any spoilers.
I have not
watched, but you know what I mean. So I don't know. We have one more triple threat match in the first round left. I think Natalya will win it, because I think Lyra Valkyria against Natalya in the second round, her having to go up against that veteran with the IC title, has a strong lineage in the Hart family history. I think that makes sense on that side of things. But we know we're getting Dakota Kai and Zoe Stark on the other side. But anyway, and then we had the main event, which we didn't really address the match. We addressed everything that happened after the match, but I thought the match with Cody and KO was good. I was rooting for KO to win. So I'm a Cody guy though. So I'm not going to say I was disappointed that he didn't, but I kind of wanted them to kind of shock everybody and have KO steal one. He ended up stealing the championship anyway, but I was hoping he would.
The old
the Winged Eagle, baby. Look at
now it wasn't
beauty
like the actual old Winged Eagle belt.
No, it was a newer version, but
it was like something you could buy in WWE shop. But it looked good. It looked good, and I was surprised that they didn't even have the classic. Like he wasn't holding like both, but just to like have that like symbol of the old school title.
Yeah.
They had no. I mean, they didn't. It would have been cool if they brought out the big gold for.
That's a WCW belt though, in its history though. So, like, you know what I mean? Like the big gold, and it's
for many years.
It was, but I feel like for that scenario, they're going to stick with the WWE original belt. They're not going to bring out a belt that they took from another company and made this. You know what I mean? Like when I see the big gold belt, I don't think WWE. I think WCW immediately. Like I don't go, oh, that's a WWE belt. I go, no, that's a WCW heavyweight championship.
WCW.
Yeah, exactly. So like for somebody like me, if I saw the big gold belt, the first thing that goes through my head is that's a WCW heavyweight championship. Or I think of the NWO spray painted on it. You know, that's the first thing I think of. I don't think of, oh yeah, that was the belt that Triple H carried around in the early 2000s. And I don't think about that at all. Like, I know they made it one, and it was a W, but I think immediately
Okay.
WCW championship. So when I see the Winged Eagle, that is when I go, oh, that's fucking Bret Hart. That's Bret Hart, Shawn. Like, that is that's WWF. That is WWF. But it was great to see that belt, though. It's still looking as pretty as ever. Still looking as pretty as ever. You see a belt like that, and I know they're kind of making new belts that kind of look more old school, but like you see a belt like that, and it just really makes you think about the championships we've seen WWE have before that and just how fucking boring and vanilla and fucking just terrible looking they are. That WWE title that The Rock debuted like 15 years ago with the big W in the middle of it, and that is the ugliest world championship belt ever. And you see something like the Winged Eagle, and you're like, that's how belts used to be. That's how belts actually were. It's gross. You like the WWE? You liked the WWE? Yeah, that's all it is, Sunday Center. It's brutal.
I mean,
Brutal.
I do have a universal title.
I hate that look. Just the big W in the middle. It just looks ugly. Compared to the old belts that they used to have, like, what do we do? A championship should be, prestigious looking. Not just this is a big leather strap with a W on it in gold. Like, that is ugly. Ugly. And then you see something like the Winged Eagle, and you're like, oh, that's how a championship should look.
At the time that I bought the Universal Championship,
I'm not judging anybody. That is the belt. I'm not judging anybody from owning it. That was the world title presented to us as fans for over 15 years. It's just when you look at the old belts compared to those, it is just night and day. Night and day.
Yeah, but at the time I bought the Universal Championship, when it was in the height of the Roman Reigns bloodline era, and I was just in love with that, and I wanted to hold that belt. So that's why. I mean, sometimes the champion makes the belt. It's like, oh shit, I want that belt because I want to be like, the OTC myself. So,
well, I believe Triple H is one of the people that I've heard say this the most, and I think you can kind of see it in his booking a little bit. But Triple H has always said, and that he's always believed, it's not the championship that makes the superstar. It's the superstar that makes the championship. So,
Roman Reigns did that for me.
Yeah. So it's one of those things, and I think you can see it in the way that he books his champions, or he's trying to book his champions, is that, yeah, like, don't get me wrong, like, becoming a world champion or becoming a champion can definitely make a superstar, but like staying at that level, it's a superstar that makes that. You know what I mean? Can I just say, though, in this world title match, Charles Robinson with that ref bump, brother.
That was old school.
That was a hell of a there were two good ref bumps in this match, but that one by Charles Robinson, that was a hell of a ref bump. He took that bump hard.
There didn't need to be two.
I agree. But there
wasn't going to be like Randy Orton returning or Kevin Owens shocking victory. There was really no reason for that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the good thing, and I guess where Kevin does have a gripe, is at one point he hit a stunner and he had Cody covered in the middle of the ring for more than 3 seconds and there was no ref. So nothing
just
is justified.
More of that justifiable.
No, I was literally just going to say nothing can be added to make what he did after justified. However, I can understand the frustration because technically we should be looking at a new WWE Undisputed Champion in Kevin Owens. And this is not
see you Thursday.
This is not all right, Johnny. Yeah, we'll see you Thursday, buddy, for Firmly AEW. This is not the first time that Kevin Owens has been screwed out of that championship belt. So we'll have to see how this goes. But you know what I want, Drew, because they came out yesterday. And they said on Raw that Cody has some sort of cervical whatever, and he's hurt. Dude, I said this earlier before you popped in the chat. I thought that Ventura, especially during this match, was excellent. He was in his element. He was a straight-on heel commentator, and it was refreshing. It was refreshing to hear that because we don't have the straight on heel commentators anymore. That was very refreshing. I thought Ventura was good throughout the night. A little rusty at first, you could tell, but I thought he was good throughout the night. But I thought in that main event at the table, he was in his element, man. He was in his element. I thoroughly enjoyed him. The way he was questioning the ref, questioning Cody. He was on Kevin Owens' side saying, it was refreshing to hear him at the table. It sounded like he never missed a beat, to be honest with you. Yeah, so we're going to have to see. But what I want to happen, because they did announce, I want Cody to be off TV for like the rest of the year. What do we have? 3 weeks? We have like 3 weeks till that Raw on Netflix. I want Cody to be off, because what I want is I want Kevin Owens to show up with the Winged Eagle title, and I want Kevin Owens to be walking around SmackDown for the next couple weeks claiming that he's the real world's champion. That's what I want. And I don't want Cody to be there. I want Cody to be injured and not there for a few weeks, just a few weeks. Maybe Cody has a holiday vacation. He can go spend time with the fam for a couple weeks for the holidays. We can see Cody on the other side of Christmas, and KO can run the.
Well, there is also the next Saturday night main event,
which is a month from now, which is the week before the Royal Rumble is the next one there. So, but I would love to see Kevin Owens. I would love to see Kevin Owens on SmackDown the next couple weeks if Cody plays off this injury angle, walking around with that belt, claiming that he is the world champion, that he is the real world's champion. I think that would be fun.
Hey, maybe he should put an extra.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like that would be a fun thing for a few weeks of KO being like, no, I'm the world champ. Cody cheated. I had him beat. Yeah. I'm the world champ. And Cody's kind of out, not there. I think that would be fun. We'll see, though. All right, so that was Saturday night's main event. So, Drew, this was the first one they've had since 2008. We have another one in a month. We're going to be getting 4 of these bad boys a year. I know there were no, like, dramatic title changes or big, we crowned the first ever women's United States champion. That was awesome. But there were no big, crazy title changes or anything like that. It was a pretty standard show, but a good show. What was your opinion on the first ever, not first ever, but you know what I mean? The first Saturday night's main event coming back in a long while. How did you feel in general about it? You think it was a good night for WWE?
Oh yeah, I do. Absolutely. The closing angle not being on TV notwithstanding, I think that it was very successful. I was thinking of even going, honestly.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're not terribly far.
No, I'm more like 45 minutes away or something like that. But it was a Saturday night, and I was like, I could just get on the Fightful holiday stream instead. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
I didn't have to pay any money, and I could just sit here and watch it in the comfort of my own home.
Yeah. Sometimes that's better. Sometimes that's better than going, to be honest with you. And then we fast forward to last night. It was Monday Night Raw, taking place from the greatest city in the world, Boston, Massachusetts.
That's a very biased opinion there.
It might be biased, but it's also true. Two things can be true.
Very much, but okay.
Yeah. Look, listen, it's the greatest. If you haven't been here, you can't judge, but it's the greatest city in America.
I actually have been there.
Yeah, Boston rules. People hate Boston. That's fine. I get it. But when you actually just come to Boston and you have like a weekend or a good time and you explore and you like go to the bars, you go, fantastic. But yes, Boston, Massachusetts, TD Garden. And this show started off hot. CM Punk makes his entrance to start the show. The crowd's chanting his name right from the jump, and CM Punk cracks a little joke. He says, "Hey, be careful now." He goes, "Somebody might get mad at you for chanting my name." He said he's got to be honest. He's feeling a little low. He's been in a bit of a bad mood because 2 weeks ago, he told Seth Rollins that he did, he starts talking about Seth, how a couple weeks ago they did their thing. Stay off the sidewalks. What do you mean? What do you mean? What does that mean? You forced one of the great directors of our time, multiple Academy Award winner, Ben Affleck, onto you? Come on.
Don't address it. Just keep talking.
Just think of the movies you wouldn't have got. Good Will Hunting. Argo. What?
Never seen that.
Argo, you don't have to. I mean, Argo was good. It won Best Picture. You don't have to see. You've never seen Good Will Hunting?
Nope.
Oh, come on, dude. What are we doing? I'm not even saying that as a Boston guy. Robin Williams, bro?
I mean, I love Robin Williams.
It's the only time he won an Oscar for that. That was the only time he ever won an Oscar. Robin Williams is fantastic in that movie. I mean, they all are. Affleck's like a side character, but Matt Damon is obviously the star. But him and Affleck wrote, like, that's a great. Oh, Good Will Hunting is incredible. Very, very good. Argo was very good as well. But anyway, I digress. I'm not up with all the superhero movies, but I actually know a lot of people that swear that Ben Affleck was a good Batman. They swear. Jersey Girl, excellent. I'm a sucker for Kevin Smith, though. I can watch all of Kevin Smith's movies. I'm a sucker for him. But Jersey Girl was good. Sad. Anyway, I digress. Ben Affleck. That's the Ben Affleck minute. I met him on the street once in Boston, though.
Oh, really?
Tall man. Two things I noticed about him. One, strikingly handsome. And I say that as a heterosexual male. But he walked by me on the corner of it. This is forever ago. This is like, we're talking 20 years ago, maybe 15. This is a long time ago. But he walked by me.
Are you saying?
I wouldn't say he's big. He's tall, though, but I'm also short. So a lot of people are going to be tall to me. I'm a short king. But Newbury Street is a famous street in Boston where all like the fancy stores are, but it's a good walking street. Even if you're a poor like me, you can walk down the street and you just look and go, oh, this is how the other half lives. This is nice. But it's a nice street to walk down. And he was on the street and he was on the corner and people started being like, oh shit, this, you know. And before it got too crazy, we made eye contact and I went, Affleck. And he just went, what's up, man? And he just walked. He just crossed the street. But he was like, had to be at least 6'2", 6'3". Tall. Now, for me, that's tall because I'm, 6'2", 6'3" is tall anyway. But like for me, that's extra tall because I'm not tall.
How tall are you?
But anyway, I am not going to say, but I am under 5'10". I will tell you that I am under 5'10".
Well,
one could say
5'10". So.
Okay, one could say I might be under 5'9". Anyway, so CM Punk comes out. So he is talking about Seth. He's saying a couple weeks ago we had our thing in the ring. I told him I don't care about this guy, but Seth just won't leave it alone. And now my mind is starting to wander. Like was the bomb in fandoms, yo. Yeah. Oh, Kevin Smith, what a legend. But now Seth is creeping in my mind from time to time, and it's putting me in a bad mood.
Seth is the Judas in his mind.
Yeah. And he goes, and now I'm mad because Seth is right. He goes, what's going on between us? It's only a matter of time before we lock up in this ring. And Punk says he's also upset because he enjoys. He was kind of rambling a little bit in this promo. I thought it got a little too long before Seth came out, but he says something along.
It was long like that because they were doing okay, you're going to come out now and interrupt.
Yes, me. He kept on going. You're going to interrupt me. You're going to interrupt me.
Because he was waiting for the music.
Yeah,
but then
I'm just
the music never came.
Yeah. He talks about Liberace at one point. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? What are we doing? Like he goes, I like like he's making fun of Liberace's dancing, but then he says, hey, I like Liberace. That's not an insult. I'm like, why are we talking about Liberace? But what happened?
That is much lower than I thought it was going to be.
So then CM Punk cuts a line because he mentions Liberace, and then he goes, then he says something to Seth, and he goes, hey, listen, Seth. He goes, the thing is, just because you wear Elton John's sunglasses, don't make you Elton John. Okay. And he goes, and you grew up idolizing CM Punk. That doesn't make you CM Punk when you put on a pair of wrestling boots. And he goes, so fine, I'll give Seth that wrestling lesson now. And then he says, I have to ask you, Seth, are you tougher than Drew McIntyre? He goes, because there won't be enough staples in the world to put you back together when we get in the ring together. And then CM Punk starts to get more frustrated that Rollins isn't interrupting him. So CM Punk asks for a CM Punk chant to try to that
was a little heelish there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna force you to come out now.
Yeah. So I'm just like, all right. So then you start hearing Seth's chant. You hear Seth's voice start saying, "See," like, so clearly the crowd starts saying CM Punk, and then you hear Seth's voice over the crowd chanting CM Punk, and we see Seth Rollins. He shows up in the crowd. He's coming through the crowd. He says, "Life's all about perspective." And he thought maybe if he came out here and saw Punk the way these people do, it might give him a new perspective and he might feel differently about Punk. So he takes a good hard look and he says, "Even from way out here, you're still an asshole." He says to CM Punk, he goes, "You're still an asshole." Punk tells him he's finally in the right spot with the rest of the CM Punk fans, which was pretty good. And then Seth says, "It's not embarrassing to be here with these people. I'll always be a fan." He goes, "When you abandoned this place and hoped to die without you, I put this place on my back and I made it stronger than ever." And he goes, "And this fan has more WrestleMania main events than you ever will. And that's a fact, Phil." Called him Phil. Called him by his real name. Drew, he called him by the shit name. This obviously gets Punk to get out of the ring. He jumps the barricade and they just start brawling in the crowd. They start brawling in the crowd. They start brawling everywhere. Referees, road agents, security, they're all breaking it up. They get back in the ringside area. The brawl restarts. CM Punk gets pulled to the floor. Both guys get steel chairs. The referees are all, disarming them with the chairs, stuff like that. Rollins. So this part was cool. They kind of pull CM Punk to that side area near like where the ring announcer and the ring keeper, kind of that walking area they have. They pull CM Punk over there, and Rollins is right near the announce table. And you can see Rollins with his eyes is like thinking like, how the fuck can I get to this guy again? And Rollins does a thing where he goes around and he goes around the table and like shoots through the crowd in a different way. And they meet up in the crowd again and they start fighting. That part of it was cool. And the crowd gets real riled up. They're fighting again. And then the brawl, it just kind of ends. And
this was one of the cooler brawls they've done, though, honestly.
Again, I know I crapped on it earlier. The brawls are fun. I love a brawl, but I don't need my Monday Night Raw starting 6 weeks in a row with a promo that turns into a brawl. Like, you switch it up. You got to switch it up for me. Triple H loves his opening brawls. I get it. They're fun. This one was a lot of fun, but it's becoming formulaic. Like, at least just kind of, you can't start Raw with a match. We can't do a Raw just starting with a match. Just once.
Sinner, how can you say that Seth Rollins has never main evented a Mania?
Yeah, he has, hasn't he? Well, he cashed in,
one
right?
One of the coolest WrestleMania main events ever was a direct result of him being involved in the main event.
Yeah. Technically, he wasn't billed as being in that main event, though. He inserted himself.
Put himself in it.
I don't disagree.
Which could be why Sinner's not remembering that famous Money in the Bank cash-in. That became a triple threat between himself and Roman and Brock Lesnar. And then just last year's WrestleMania, he main evented too. So,
yeah. So again, a good segment. I thought the Punk, and I get it, it was kind of designed that way, but I thought the CM Punk promo side went a little long for me. But once Seth got there, I think it was good.
But it was long.
It was on purpose. Yes, it was. It was. So I thought a good opening segment to get the crowd riled up. Good to go. We then go to the back and we have Judgment Day. Finn Balor looking pissy as hell. Just looking pissy as hell. He berates the Judgment Day for not helping him in the WWE World
the big part in this. You know what I should do? I keep scrolling every time. I just gotta do this.
What?
There we go. Big doesn't fit here, but for Finn Balor, sexy monster.
Unbelievable. Is he a monster? Can you be a monster and be 5'8"? You know what I'm saying?
Hey, demon. Big sexy demon.
That I'll give you. Finn Balor is berating the Judgment Day. Why didn't you guys help me? It was 2-on-1 on Saturday. Why didn't you help me? Liv Morgan tells him to focus on the tag titles, and she wishes him and JD good luck tonight. And then Raquel Rodriguez, they mention her in her triple threat match later on, and she goes, "Listen, when we listen to Finn, we win. When we listen to Finn, we win."
They're all doing it in such a in
just
such
like a shitty fucking like just sarcastic way. And like even Finn knows because Finn has that smile after he's like, thanks. And like Finn's like, oh, thank you. Like even he knows he's like, fuck off. No, but it's good. It's good. And then everyone kind of leaves. And Finn is just looking sour. We then had we had a couple. So Ludwig Kaiser then makes his way to the ring. We have an IC title match with him and Braun. But before that, Adam Pearce is chasing Seth Rollins down in the back to chastise him. Rollins yells at Pearce, saying, I want this fight. Why don't you just give me the fight? And Pearce says, well, if you two could stay away from each other, maybe I could get something done. If you let me do my job. And then Seth goes, yeah, why don't you do your job? And that was that. This is about the 20th similar conversation Adam Pearce has had with a talent this fucking year. So Adam Pearce, what the hell, bro?
This was an Adam Pearce type of a show. He
100%.
loves when there's chaos. So
Adam Pearce has had this exact conversation with almost half the Raw roster this year of him saying, if you could just lay off somebody, I could do my job. And they're going, well, how about you just do your job? Like, he's had this with Drew. He's had this with Punk. He's had this with Seth. He's had this with Bronson Reed. He's had this conversation with everybody. Unbelievable. So then Drew McIntyre rolls up. He says that Seth once told him to get over Roman Reigns and the bloodline. He goes, well, it's not so easy, is it, Seth? He goes, everyone is fooled but the two of us. And everyone enabling him needs taking out. Seth then says, yeah, you think that because we have a common cause, he goes, we're friends. He goes, we're not friends. He goes, when I helped take out Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, who was with me? Jay, Sammy. He goes, they were with me then when we took out Roman Reigns. He goes, they're my friends. He goes, I look at you. He goes, you're not my friend. He goes, they're my friends. He goes, friendship is built on respect, and I respect Jay, and I respect Sami Zayn. He goes, but with you, jury's out. And he goes, so I'm going to excuse myself and go do something that you couldn't do, and that's take CM Punk out for good. Or he says that, I think he said end CM Punk. That's end CM Punk. And then Drew kind of has the eyes on him, and he just goes, okay. Seth walked away, and that's so Drew kind of comes up. He's saying, hey, we kind of saying the same things here, buddy. Like, I think we're kind of, and Seth is like,
happening.
No,
I'm telling you it's happening.
It could. I think it could. And Seth is like, no. They're my friends. I respect them. They were with me when we actually did something about trying to stop Roman Reigns. They were with me, not you. Not you. So Seth is very apprehensive about it. But Drew is kind of looking at him like, no, you'll see it my way. You'll see it my way soon enough. Like, yeah, okay. Good little foreshadowing, good little tease there, especially even if it leads to just a Drew and Seth like program against each other. I'd be all in on that as well. I thought that was a good little segment between the two of them in the back, Drew. I liked it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's going like it's making you think. It's like, I know that, like Punk has, a link to both of those men.
Mm-hmm.
They've never really fought each other before that I can remember.
Did Drew challenge Seth for the title when Seth was the inaugural world champ? Was Drew part of the challenger list? Maybe.
Oh, well, he was in the match. That's right. When they did the triple threat.
Yeah. Right.
He was in the match. Yeah.
Okay.
And
I don't think they've had at least that I can remember, I don't think they've had like a long form one-on-one program, Drew and Seth. I don't think so.
Yeah.
At least,
I
mean, they've been on the main roster for so long that they probably have, but I can't remember one of substance. So I feel like this would be a good feud between two big guys that aren't the champ. If they wanted to go that route, I would love them eventually to align, though. I think that would be fun if Seth and Drew had an alliance. But even if it's, like I said, so obviously, it was announced later on in the evening that we are getting CM Punk versus Seth Rollins.
Anybody in the chat, if you remember Seth and Drew,
Yeah,
let
it's
us
one
know,
of
because I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know. That happened a lot, Georgie. That happened a lot at the beginning of Roman's run. I wouldn't be shocked if we get another Roman versus KO match at some point, because KO's antics are all based off people helping Roman. But I don't know if we get that right away. Joe, I'm right with you, man. I'm right with you. I think we're getting close. I think we're getting close. But we found out later on in the evening that we are getting CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. And we're getting it at the Raw debut on Netflix in just a few short weeks. It's going to be one-on-one CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. Now, will that be the only match they have against each other? Who knows? But we're at least getting that match, and we're getting it sooner than we think, as it's going to be happening in about 3 weeks on that Raw and Netflix. So if they're doing it that early, maybe we don't draw this out until Mania. I was under the impression that Punk and Rollins would be the Mania match for each of them. It still very much could be. But if it's not, would anybody be upset with Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania as kind of like a big kind of non-title one-off match? Would anybody be upset if they went that route?
I wouldn't be.
If they were going to get
Although
off
I
Punk
feel
and
like by
Seth?
WrestleMania, there's going to be some major thing that happens. I think maybe by the Royal Rumble, there's really going to establish.
I don't necessarily think you're wrong.
Road to Mania.
Yeah. All right. It was then time for the IC, the Intercontinental Championship match. It was Braun Breaker defending against Ludwig Kaiser. I will say, Braun Breaker got his ass kicked for a lot of this match. I can't remember a match in a while.
Yeah, he was doing like a selling of like the arm.
Oh my God. Ludwig Kaiser was crushing Braun Breaker's arm this whole match, to the point where Braun Breaker, for the at least the last segment of this match, was barely using. He was basically a one-armed guy in this match. I can't remember a match where Braun took as much punishment as he did in this match with Ludwig Kaiser. This was very, very good. Ludwig Kaiser, we've said it before, Drew. He's got everything you want, man. That guy's a total package. He can talk. He's got the look. He's very good in the ring. He's a great heel. That guy's a superstar in the making. Ludwig Kaiser. I thought this match was very good, and we did see Braun Breaker hit a one-arm spear at the end of this match to retain the Intercontinental Championship. But I thought this was a very good first match of the show, and I thought this was a good spot for Kaiser and Braun, and I thought that they both lived up to it. We know how good Braun is, and I think we know how good Kaiser is, but Kaiser continues to impress me on a week-to-week basis, Drew. I think he's very good. He's very good. He's a main event guy if they want him to be a main event guy. That's how I feel about him. I don't know how you feel about Kaiser, but that's how I feel about him. I love you, New Music Inferno, but apparently that's the theme of the show.
Those are my PG feelings about Ludwig Kaiser. So, we have a question here. Zilla
Possibly.
Fatu?
I don't know. I honestly don't know
if Zilla's ready yet.
I don't think Zilla, again, I've met Zilla Fatu. I like Zilla Fatu.
You've met Zilla Fatu?
Yeah, I met him SummerSlam weekend.
Oh.
Yeah, we were partying down in the hotel lobby, bro. Having some cocktails with the fella.
Part of the family of the chat that I keep flashing on the screen. So.
Yeah. I like Zilla Fatu. He's very young. He has a lot of promise. I think he could end up in WWE one day. I do not know if he is ready for that moment now. I think a little bit more seasoning, not just in the ring, outside the ring, more importantly. But I feel like Zilla, I think it's only a matter of time. Yeah, I think it's only a matter of time before he ends up under the WWE umbrella. He clearly has the family pedigree. He has all the tools you need. He looks good. He's athletic. He can go. He's charismatic.
Right.
But he's young. I think he needs to grow up a smidge. And then I think he'll be ready. But I also think him being in WWE with a lot of his family members there who can kind of guide him, I think that could help too.
Sure.
I think that could help to guide him along, kind of, because there are some, I wouldn't say character questions, but he's a young kid. So he's done some young kid stuff, which isn't always a positive, But anyway, we then have the New Day is backstage, and they are approaching. This was nice.
Very interesting.
Yes. They are approaching the locker room, and as they get to the locker room, Rey Mysterio comes out of the locker room, and he kind of meets them at the door. New Day's upset. He says, "What are you doing? You're a locker room leader. Why are people turning on them? Like, why are people turning on us? Why is nobody talking to us? Like, you're a leader. What's going on?" And Rey Mysterio says, "Hey, man, what you did to Big E wasn't right." And he goes, "And I think it would be best if you found somewhere else to change." And Xavier Woods just goes, "Wow." He's like, "All right, that's fine." He goes, "You don't want to share a locker room with us? Fine." He goes, "We didn't want to share a locker room with all of you anyway." And the New Day just, again, very upset, begrudgingly walks off as everyone in the back continues to not align with how they treated Big E a couple weeks ago. You got Dan popping in saying Ray should be ashamed of himself for kicking Kofi and Xavier out of the locker. Look, I don't even think it was Ray specifically. I think Ray was the voice of the locker room there. I think he was the voice of the locker room. Clearly one of the true veterans. He has to be the oldest guy in the locker room, right? Ray? Up there. Got to be up there at this point. Right? He has to be the oldest veteran.
Yeah,
I would think.
Well, but R-Truth, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But he's one of the elders. He's one of he's one of the old school veterans, Ray. So I thought he was a perfect guy to kind of be the voice of the locker room, to go out there and say, "Hey, man, not everyone's jiving with how you treat a Big E. So I think it's in your best." And I also think that he was being respectful, because I think he was doing it from a level of like, "Hey, we don't want you in there, but also if you come in there, you guys might get your asses kicked."
Who do you think is older, Rey Mysterio or R-Truth?
R-Truth. R-Truth is almost 50. But he looks like he's
over
30.
50.
Is he over 50? Then he's the oldest. I think he's the oldest.
You're correct.
What's he,
52
53?
years old.
52. What's Ray, 50? 49.
50.
It's impressive. How old does R-Truth look? Oh, younger than me. So there it is. Got over 20 years on me, and he looks younger than me. He looks the same that he did 20 years ago, R-Truth. It's insane. But I thought this was a good little part right here. We come back. We get shown a highlight reel about what happened after Saturday night's main event. Commentary hypes up the views and all that stuff, and they say that Cody has officially been diagnosed with an axial compression of the cervical spine, but no fracture. So he's at home resting, but he'll be out for a little bit of time. And then it was time. Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Dominic Mysterio make their way to the ring. Dominic grabs the mic, and Boston let him have it. They weren't letting him talk, but then he asked everyone to welcome the greatest women's world champion of all time, Liv Morgan, as the boos are drowning him out. But Liv pulls out a megaphone. She's got the megaphone. They must have took it from Jimmy Hart on Saturday. They said, "Can you leave that megaphone here? We're going to use it." But she has a megaphone. She starts using the megaphone, and she's talking about how she's the greatest of all time. And then she starts to go in about how great she's going to be even next year. And before she can start diving in, we hear Rhea Ripley's music. Rhea Ripley comes out. She gets right in Liv's face. She tells her to shut the hell up. And she says, "It's time that we settled this once and for all." She said Adam Pearce has made it official that she is the number one contender for the WWE Women's World Championship. She says that she's going to win, and all that will be left for Liv is her little, Drew, chicken tender slut. Brother, let me tell you. Couldn't believe it.
Huh.
Couldn't believe it. I was like, wow,
That
how
was
dare
an
you use
interesting
dirty
interesting
words?
thing to say.
Amazing. Amazing. Chicken tender slut. I loved it. Drew, I loved it. I was like, wow. I wasn't
And his
expecting that to happen.
reaction to it too.
Whew. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, they used that word? Damn. I mean, but I thought it was great. I thought Dom's reaction to it was great too. He was just kind of like nobody could believe she said it. Ah, it's good stuff. They didn't announce when this match is happening, Drew. They just said that
Rumble,
she's the number
probably.
one. You think so? You think they wait till the Rumble? You don't think they added to the Raw on Netflix?
Oh yeah, they
Or
could
do
do
they
that.
add it to Saturday night's main event, maybe the week before the Rumble? Because I'm thinking about it.
Oh, that might be a Saturday night main event.
The Rumble's 7 weeks away. Saturday night's main event is 6 weeks away. And now the Raw on Netflix is 3 weeks away. So I'm like, when do they do it? When do they do it?
Yeah, it could be Raw on Netflix.
Do you really want to, there are people, and I think maybe you and I maybe are there or beginning to get there, but like there are people that are already thinking that the Rhea and Liv thing has gone on too long, that it should have already ended. Now we have it official that they're fighting again for the belt. I would assume that Rhea is going to win the belt this time, and this is going to separate for a bit. I feel like they need to.
You also have to take into consideration that it also got delayed because
of injuries. For sure.
So,
for sure. No, it wasn't. This is not by their fault. There was bad luck involved with injuries and things of that nature as well. Hoosier, good morning to you, my friend. What's going on, man? Thank you for popping in. We're talking about Raw right now. I would assume that the opening Raw on Netflix is going to be pushing that. I would assume. I would assume we're going to be heading that way.
Don't remind me.
I would assume.
We only have some super chats so it can help me pay for Netflix because I got to pay for Netflix now to watch.
Oh, first of all, who the fuck isn't paying for? Like, come on. There's just certain apps to me where I'm just like, how are you not buying that? Like, how do you not have it?
I pay for AMC Plus. I pay.
Okay,
for
you don't
YouTube
need that
TV.
one. You don't need that one.
I pay. What do you mean?
You don't need AMC. Why do you need AMC Plus?
Because it's got shows that I watch on there.
Well, what's more important? Netflix now?
Netflix is more money.
And it's also a better app. Way more things to watch. And now it's going to have all the wrestling. It's going to have WWE on it.
Yeah, no, so I'm forced to. Thanks a lot.
You haven't had Netflix? Well, I know you've been stealing.
I didn't want Peacock, but then I had to get Peacock, and now I have to get Netflix.
Well, first of all, you should have already had Netflix.
I had shared.
Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah. There's normal, noble people like me who have been paying for Netflix my whole life. My whole life. I did, and then I cut it to YouTube TV like 6, 7 years ago, something like that. I have basic cable because, okay, I'm not going to name the company, but there is a company.
Why?
A cable, because they're crooks and they're criminals.
So name them so we know.
No, I don't want to be that guy. But it begins with an X and it ends with Finity. So they are crooks. Okay. So I have basic cable and a cable box out there because it is cheaper for me to have basic cable with the internet than just the internet alone. Now you ask yourself, how is that possible? And I say, because criminal activity in that company, criminal activity. But that's why, because it literally, I could call this company and say, hey, I just need internet. I literally just need the internet. And they'll say, okay, what speed, whatever. I go, the fastest one you got, I need the internet. And they go, okay, this is going to cost you $149 a month. And I go, that's fucking insane just for internet. What kind of racket do you have over there? And then they go, well, if you bundle it and you get cable with it, it'll only cost you $99.99. And I go, I don't want cable, though. I don't need cable. And they go, yeah, but if you get cable, it'll cost you $99.99. So most people, including my dumbass, we go, all right, I'll save the $50 a month and I'll get the basic cable. And they go, okay. And then you have that for 6 months or 12 months. And then when that ends, they double it without telling you. And you end up paying like $200 a month for cable and internet. And then you call and you go, hey, I don't want this anymore. I'm leaving. And they go, no, stay. And I go, well, you make me stay. And then they go, okay, we'll put it back to $99.99. You go, that's what I thought. That's how you win with these people. You just got to call and threaten to leave, and they will give you anything that you want because they're scum of the earth. Not the people that work for them; they're just doing their jobs. The people that call and you talk to, they're just regular people doing their jobs. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the people sitting on top of their castles that own that shit. Criminals. And I live in an area where, in the town that I live in, there are no other choices. If you want cable, you have to get them. You have to. You cannot get one of the you can't. And that is even more criminal to me. That should not be allowed. There should always be choice. Criminal. Anyway, I digress. Yeah. All right. Chicken tender slut, Drew. You gonna buy that shirt?
No.
What? Are you kidding me?
Listen, I have enough shirts. Okay, I don't need to buy a shirt.
Do you know how incredible it would be if you walked into like a store and somebody out of had no idea what that meant?
Yeah, but
like
you could probably buy a shirt already that says chicken tender slut.
That's what I'm saying. Imagine you had a shirt that said chicken tender slut and you walked into a store and people just looked at you and they just said, what the hell does that mean? And then you're like, you don't know, bro?
Also, I don't eat chicken tenders. So
no? Are you a nugget man?
I don't eat meat.
Oh, that's right. That makes sense. Well, you never do. What about like imitation chicken nuggets? Have you tried those?
Sometimes they're good. It depends.
Yeah. Now, are you a vegan or are you a vegetarian?
No.
Oh, you just don't eat meat.
I stick to vegan as much as possible, but especially now this time of the year, butter and dairy and cheese, it's hard.
Are you a fish person? Do you do fish?
No.
Okay. As someone who resides in the Northeast, gotta eat fish, man. You gotta eat fish.
Listen,
you gotta eat fish.
Fish
is excellent.
I miss you know what I miss the most? I miss
lobster rolls
the most.
You miss what?
Ham.
Oh yeah. Hot dogs.
Pig products. I miss
bacon?
Ham. I miss bacon.
Now, was this a health choice or was it a personal because animals?
It was more
the way they're treated and okay, fair.
Listen, when I smell barbecue,
I respect the hell out of it because I know I could never go without eating meat. Like I know I never could, but I know it's a lot healthier for you to kind of minimize the amount of meat you eat. Food. It's 2024. Have a good time. I don't care. But you know what I mean. But anyway. All right, we come
like this type.
I can't do it. Seth Rollins is shown backstage on his way out of the building. He is being interviewed. But before he can get an answer out, we hear a ruckus happening, and Sami Zayn and Drew McIntyre are beating the crap out of each other. Sami Zayn attacked Drew McIntyre. The referees and everybody is pulling them apart. Drew threatens to put Sami in a box. That's right. And Jason Jordan, poor Jason Jordan, he didn't deserve this. But Jason Jordan gets punched right in the damn face as this left. He just got a punch right in the face. I forget who gave it to him. But there is only one answer to this question, Hoosier.
Oh, yeah.
And it's extra crispy. Now, when I say that, I don't mean burnt. I don't want burnt. But extra crispy bacon for the win. Always
nothing like a nice, fresh, crispy strip of bacon.
Oh, tremendous. Tremendous. Yep. We come back from commercial and Miz is in the back chatting with the Final Testament. He's trying to kind of get out of, and he's trying to like get away from them. In this, he's trying to like talk his way out of like continuing to be a part of them. I think he needed their assistance for the Wyatts, and now he feels like, okay, I'm good here. I want to go back over here and do my own thing. And this group is basically like, no, you're with us. So the Miz is talking, and then Karrion Kross says that what the Wyatt Six did to Paul Ellering and to Scarlett means it's not over until he says it's over. He says, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take the first strike. And he looks at Miz and he goes, do you remember when you were getting stalked by Dexter Lumis? And Miz is like, yeah. And he goes, you're going to fight him next week. One-on-one. And Miz goes, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And Karrion Kross goes, yeah, you will. And Paul Ellering goes, I saved you twice, Miz. So you owe us. And then Kross tells Miz to go to Pierce and get the match, gives him a little bit of a pep talk and reminding him that he's won 22 championships in his career. And then Miz goes off, and Kross says that Miz is going to learn that when you make a deal with the devil, you don't run out of it. And that was the last line.
Gaslighting and manipulation.
Yep. I'm telling you, I know it's a mid-card thing. There's something bigger going on with Karrion Kross here. And we know he's a Triple H guy. We know Triple H loves him. I think he's kind of underrated at this point. But there is something bigger going on with this Karrion Kross story. And, like, I just feel like, they're dealing with the why. Like, I don't think it's, but, like, everybody that he's dealt with has turned on people. He's like, what, 7-0? Or has 7 victories in the last calendar year over former world champions. I just feel like once they kind of get past the Wyatts and into next year, I just feel like Karrion Kross, maybe not the group as a whole, but I feel like Karrion Kross is going to be elevated up to a higher level. I just got that feeling. I feel like what they've been doing with him, especially the last couple months, has been actually good. Been actually good. I don't know. I just feel like, and I know he's a big Triple H guy, clearly. I don't know if he'll win the thing, but I can see him fighting for it. I can see him fighting for it next year for sure. I don't know if he'll win it, but I think he'll be fighting for it. I do. All right. We then had another first-round matchup in the Women's Intercontinental Championship Tournament. This one had Kaden Carter versus Raquel Rodriguez versus Zoe Stark. And let me tell you guys, I've said it before on multiple shows of mine. Inside the ring, there are not a lot of people better than Zoe Stark on that roster. There are not a lot of people. She blew out her fucking knee. That's somebody that had a knee blow out on her to the point where she tore everything in one of her knees and had to come back. She is incredible in the ring. Like, incredible. She was the glue of this match. And I know the finish was kind of botched, which sucked because her finisher is good. And I don't know whose fault it was. I'm not blaming anybody. Shit happens. It's pro wrestling. But obviously the finish wasn't the best. She didn't hit it correctly, the Z360. But when it's hit correctly, that's a badass finisher. It just didn't look the best in this one. But I thought this triple threat match was really good. I thought Kaden Carter kind of showed out during this a little bit too. And Raquel was there for the muscle, as you would expect, working with 2 smaller, faster wrestlers. I thought this was a good triple threat match. Who I expected to win won to kind of set up her and Dakota next week with that story of Damage Control and Pure Fusion Collective. I like this triple threat match, and I thought Zoe Stark was the right person to win, and I thought she was the standout. Yeah. I thought she was the standout in this.
Like, I had thought that Raquel was going to win. Which I don't think would have been a bad decision either.
No, I don't. I agree.
Kaden Carter, like, she's a good wrestler. I'm not like knocking her abilities, but I really have no interest in her at all.
I mean, they haven't really
just like there to.
Yeah, they haven't really given us. Yeah, she's in a tag team. But besides the fact that they dance, they haven't really given us a reason to care about those two. And
I even forgot about her tag team, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, Katana Chance was in the one. Yeah, she was in the triple threat match with Dakota in this tournament as well. So, but yeah.
But I would say that it's about time that somebody in Pure Fusion Collective wins.
Yeah, I would say so. Do we think that, if we think they may be going the Lyra route, do we see Zoe Stark beating Dakota Kai because of maybe Pure Fusion Collective or whatever, and then we get a Lyra versus Zoe final? Or do we think, because I think we're going Lyra versus Dakota. I think that should be the final. But because of I could see them going the route where Dakota gets screwed because of Pure Fusion Collective and it's heel versus face in the finals, where it's the heel Zoe Stark going against Lyra potentially. I don't know. I feel like there's either way they can go, but I think that belt is Dakota's or Lyra's. Either way you go for, I think it's one of those two that are winning it.
I agree.
So I would love to see it be them in the finals. But I think one of those two are winning it. But so we have one more first round matchup, which we'll probably see on next week's Raw. And then I would assume on the Raw before the Netflix one, we'll get the 2 one-on-one semifinals. And I would assume that the finals will be on that Raw or Netflix. I feel like that would be the
Hasn't
way
that been
to go.
announced already?
Has it been announced that it's officially on there? Did they already?
Feel like I remember somebody saying that.
I mean, if it has, that would make sense. I feel like that's the way to do it, the way the timeline works. Well, technically, as of right now, EO is not in the tournament. So we did see later on in the evening here, EO's Kairi Sane, who is in that other triple threat, the last one, got attacked by Zoe Stark and the Pure Fusion Collective. So we don't know if she will officially be taken out of the triple threat next week. We probably can assume she will. I don't know if it's EO that accepted. I have not read any spoilers. We don't do spoilers, so do not put spoilers in the chat. I will remove that comment immediately. But I wouldn't be shocked if EO goes in there for Kairi Sane, but that would change kind of everything on that side of things, because then I would be like, well, EO's going to definitely win. But I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because they did that attack.
They did later on in the night. Pure Fusion Collective and Zoe attacked Kairi. They slammed her hand in one of those trunks in the back. So it looked like she had a broken hand or an injured hand. I assume she's going to be removed from the triple threat match that she's going to do next week. Now, they taped it last night, but I assume she's going to get removed. I don't know who they put in there. Obviously, it would be pretty easy to put in EO. That could also lead to maybe a Dakota versus EO final, which would be fun. Damage Control going against each other. That could lead to maybe Zoe does upset Dakota, and we get a Zoe versus EO finals with Damage Control and Pure Fusion Collective. That
movement that you just did when you were saying that was kind of funny.
Yeah. Well, weren't they doing this at first, the Pure Fusion Collective? Like, wasn't Mia Yim on social medias? Like, every time they came out, she would post a picture of her doing something like that. Hilarious. Again, I view this the same way that I view the United States Championship. I love Io Sky. Do I think Io Sky would be a great first women's IC champion? Of course I do. But she's I don't think she needs it. I think this should be used to elevate someone like a Lyra Valkyria or a Dakota Kai or a Zoe Stark. Any of them.
Yeah.
I think this belt should be used to elevate one of those. I think it should be. Lyra or Dakota are the two that just stick. They are they are primed for me to get that belt. Lyra is probably the safer choice, I would think. But yeah, this belt is just, to me, it's primed for people like that. All right, we did have a backstage segment with the Alpha Academy. They were backstage with R-Truth, actually. And R-Truth is talking about how he changed his whole workout routine based on their advice. And then Pete Dunne shows up, and he's continuing to complain about R-Truth calling him Butch. And R-Truth was like, I didn't call you that. And Pete Dunne goes, yeah, you did. I heard you. He goes, if you keep on saying it, this is the last one, and I'm going to break your jaw. And R-Truth goes, Butch, please. Made me laugh. Made me laugh out loud. Butch, please. Like, instead of bitch, please. Butch, please. Just the way he said it. I fucking R-Truth. We don't deserve him. We don't deserve R-Truth. So then that leads to American Made rolling up with Chad Gable. R-Truth kind of leaves here. Butch, please. No, amazing. That was amazing. And he starts berating American Alpha again. He calls them a bunch of jokes. He calls them pathetic. He says something bad about Maxine, and then he goes to Otis and he goes, and you're the worst of them all. And he goes, when I first met you, and then Otis swipes his hand away and tells him to shut up. Good for you, Otis. Good for you to stand up. And then Gable says, it's time to start kill. He says, it's time to kill my darlings. And he goes, and I'm starting with, and he kind of walks his eyes on Akira Tozawa. He goes, and I'm starting with you. So I assume next week or whatever, we're going to be getting Chad Gable and Akira Tozawa. So it seems like we're going back to American Made and American Alpha, and Chad Gable's going to try to run through
I guess that
them all.
Appearance on SmackDown was just a one-off.
Yeah, I think it was to promote the transfer window kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know? So we got that. New Day is then interviewed backstage. Xavier Woods continues to complain about the biased journalism and saying that nobody's treating them fairly. And then we pan over to see the Pure Fusion Collective, and that's when they did the injury angle with Kairi Sane and stuff like that. And then we were at our main event, Drew, and it was for the WWE World Tag Team Championships. It was the champions, Finn Balor and JD McDonough of the Judgment Day, defending against the War Raiders. Good tag match. Good tag match. Something happened in this tag match that I expected to happen, and that was towards the end of the match, the referee was getting distracted, and Finn Balor went over to grab some chairs and try to get an advantage. And when he was grabbing one of the chairs, Drew, it wasn't budging for some reason. And when Finn turned around and the camera panned, we saw Damian Priest. He had the headset on, dressed up as one of the workers. He had the headset. He had the hood. He's holding the chair, and he kind of is just holding it, laughing.
Do it one last time. Last time.
He's kind of holding it, laughing at Finn.
Replace Jacob with Damian Priest.
Yep.
Thank you for this comment today, New Music Inferno.
Right.
Came in handy.
So that happens, which leads to them getting back in the ring. A lot of back and forth towards the end. I was one of those things. I went in and I was like, oh, the War Raiders are definitely winning. And then as this was going, I was like, wait a minute, are they actually going to retain?
Yeah, I did have also a thought of,
right?
Like, are they not going to win?
Exactly. Like I was like, oh, like the way they did it at the end, it even like got me. I was like, oh shit, all right. But what we thought was going to happen happened. The War Raiders hit the War Machine on Finn Balor, which I liked, because if you're going to do the thing with Priest, Finn Balor should be the one taking the pin, because I thought, oh, JD will take the pin. That's nice and easy. But the way they did it, Finn Balor taking the pin was the right move. And the War Raiders end the show as the new WWE World Tag Team Champions. First time in about 5 years that they have held tag team gold in WWE. And really good Ivar. He's Warbeard Hansen. Locally in New England.
It's also kind of like the first time in 5 years that they're both healthy.
Yeah, then that's part of it. And you could tell, you could see the emotion on their faces. Like they've been through a lot.
That was really awesome.
Yeah, it was a very good moment. And
now,
for
what do you think
Warbeard,
happens with Finn?
It's him and Priest, man.
Because like something's got to give here now, right? Like Finn's got to be like a complete. Maybe this is what brings the devil back.
Maybe.
The
demon, maybe. I think, him in Judgment Day feels like he's getting out of there.
Because originally, because we had talked like there's got to be something like to the Finn live thing, but now it kind of feels like that's not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
Even she is now participating in that very sarcastic, when you listen to Finn, we win thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't seem like and they're going to play into the key card taking of the hotel room and all that stuff that they had alluded to back then.
Yep.
And I see it's like you're in the same boat there too. You feel the same way.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I think. I don't know.
Did they kick Finn Balor out of the group?
No, I think Finn would leave.
Or Finn would leave.
I think if anything, Finn would leave. Because he's clearly not happy in the group. He's tired of them. every time they show him, he's not having a good time. So I think it's very clear that he is getting tired of the group. I know they were banned from ringside in that match, but I still have a feeling he's going to use that and be like, well, Damian was down there. Like, you couldn't have, you know, I just feel like he's going to, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like Finn is going to be getting a singles push, though. There was a report that said he's going to be getting heavily pushed singly in 2025, which I feel like he should. He's got to just snap because of this, right? He's gonna snap because he's been building and building and building and
Yeah, this whole
staying
thing with Damian
calm.
Priest has been
Yeah, and like Priest is the one that, yeah, he's been tired of this shit with Priest for months, and now Priest is the reason why A, he didn't win the world title on Saturday, and now B, he lost the tag titles with Priest having something to do with. Like, I feel like he's just gonna lose his mind and snap. Like, that's the first thing we're getting is him losing it.
Yeah, we can't just have like the regular him in the back being all like heavy breathing.
Yeah, no, he's got to be angry. Yeah. He has to be angry now, like losing his mind type stuff.
And that seems like a demon thing.
Could. I don't know. I don't know if you. I don't know.
We haven't seen him as a demon in a long time.
Yeah, I don't know if you do the demon if he's going to be a full-on heel though, because the demon is kind of, you know.
True.
The demon is something that the crowd's it's gonna be over with the crowd, whether he, you know, so if he's doing a bad, like super bad guy heel run, I don't know if the demon is what you want because the crowd will pop for that shit.
True. Yeah.
It's been a while. But I mean, clearly it feels like we're heading towards, like we're continuing Priest and Finn. And they've only still technically had the one-on-one match. So I feel like we're definitely getting more of that. I just thought that Finn might have stole the belt on Saturday in that match, which would have led to Damian and Finn fighting for a title. Because I kind of do feel like, even though Gunther is the champ and I want Gunther to remain the champ, I do feel like the Finn Priest thing, I do think that merits a title. I do think that merits a title because Finn's main thing has been how Damian Priest has been continuing to fight for the title. And he's pissed that Priest still does. And so Finn finally got his shot at the title, and then Priest one-upped them and got added to the match. And he's like, go fuck yourself, man. You know, like, what the hell?
Yeah.
You had, like, what about me? You know? So I feel like they're going to go in that route. I really do. But we'll see. All I know is that we have 2 Monday Night Raws before we have the big Monday Night Raw. Because the big Monday Night Raw on January 6th.
Monday Night Raw ever, probably.
Ever. That's what they're building it to be. I assume that's what they're going to try to make it. So we're only a couple Raws away before the switch over to Netflix. So we'll have to see kind of where this continues moving forward. But I thought Raw was pretty solid. I thought there was some storyline progression that I liked. I thought some of the matches were good. I didn't think it was the greatest Raw of all time, but
I earlier was making a comment. I was looking at the Saturday Night's Main Event ratings, thinking that it's just the rate. It's just from the NBC side, not from. Because it was on Peacock also. It only did like 1.5 million. I was a little surprised. I thought it was going to do more than that.
Yeah, I don't know. Saturday nights are tough. Saturday nights are not the greatest TV night because, you know, it's Saturday. People are out, especially around this time, holidays. But
yeah,
if you're not taking that into account, like if you're not, yeah, you got to see the whole thing. But I mean, 1.5 million people.
That's just like a Raw, basically.
Yeah. I mean, so it's not unlike what they're used to. I bet you they probably wanted a bigger number if that ends up being the final number. But maybe we'll see what the one in January does. Maybe that builds towards, oh, they're having another one of these in January? Okay, I like the one last time. Let me watch it. And maybe that number grows and they get over 2. I don't know. We'll see. But another good week of WWE television, Drew. Saturday night's main event was a rousing success. I thought Raw was good. We'll have to see what continues on Friday because, you know, one thing we didn't mention, I mean, we kind of did, but at the end, you know, with that attack on Cody, Triple H got a little physical with KO. he came out and he kind of tried to grab the Winged Eagle belt, and KO kind of chest bumped him, and Triple H shoved Kevin Owens, and they got into each other's face. Obviously, Triple H cannot have a match. He has a pacemaker. So he's been very forthcoming, saying that he can never wrestle again. But that is the first time we've seen him get pseudo physical since he's been in this role, really.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see kind of how that goes. I wonder if Triple H will at least get involved on screen, like in a promo or a backstage segment or something along those lines. But
Very
I feel
unlike
like,
Triple H.
yeah, I feel like, oh yeah, that is true. On Saturday night, there was also the Heisman in college football as well. There was the Heisman presentation, which is a big ratings thing as well. So there, it is what it is. I don't.
Not to me. I don't give a shit about
Yeah,
that.
I don't give a shit about ratings. I just was like, hey man, that was a good show on Saturday. Just keep having good shows and all that stuff will work out. But yeah, Drew, overall, a good week for nobody watches Collision. Nobody watches Collision. So, well, Scott, I don't disagree. But we'll have to see. I think that's Kevin Owens' angle, is he's going to be like, this is my boss coming out here and getting physical with me. What the hell? But anyway, Drew, let the people know where they can find you. What else you got coming on this week? Besides, I mean, you can tell them what we got going on Thursday.
Wait, before.
Oh, yeah. Is there something? Did
So
something
Kevin
break?
Owens tweeted
Yeah.
a couple minutes ago the WWE holiday tour
Yeah.
between the 26th to the 30th.
Mhm.
And he photoshopped a picture of himself over Cody's head, like his head over Cody's head.
Yeah.
And then also the Winged Eagle title,
Yeah.
where the WWE title would be on Cody's shoulder. And
Love to see it.
now that I have your attention, I have great news for you all. I'm proud to officially announce that I will be competing in my first matches as your new true WWE champion on this year's holiday loop. That's a term people in the business use that reference a string of consecutive shows in different cities over a short period of time. Starting in Jacksonville on the 26th, followed by 3 more shows in Florida, and then 1 in Detroit for some reason. Be there to witness history. Oh, the Raw crew has shows too, whatever.
All right. Fair enough. I'm going to have to go check out that tweet. I like it. I love Kevin Owens. He's the best.
So it could be then that Cody is being replaced with, so it's like what you're saying, they're going to keep him off TV for a little bit. They even replacing him on the holiday tour with the newly crowned, in his eyes, WWE champion Kevin Owens.
Hell yeah. I love it. That's what I want. I want KO on SmackDown these next 2 to 3 weeks to a month, just acting like he's the world champ. That's what I want. That's what I want. So
The first TK Sherwood on Twitter, I think you follow him too.
I do.
His reply to that was, adrenaline in my soul. Kevin Pyle dropped Cody Rhodes.
Sure. I like it.
That's great.
I like it.
All
right,
can
Drew,
follow me on Twitter
yes.
at the Drew Nicholas. You can follow this lovely podcast of ours at Firmly LW on Twitter as well. I am on Blue Sky at just Drew Nicholas. You can find me there, and collecting super chats and humper chats for Fightful's AEW Collision post show on Saturdays with Rick Cresta and Iridian, and on the Roundtable Pro Wrestling podcast with the very annoying Sunday Sinner that comes and bothers me in these chats. And yeah, you'll find us on Thursday as well.
Yeah. Bonkers is saying that there was 830,000 views on YouTube for Saturday night's main event. So, because I think internationally, like I know in Australia, Josh had to watch it on YouTube. So Saturday night's main event was on YouTube
Okay.
for him. So I don't know how much that was for everywhere internationally. So maybe I don't think internationally anybody watched Saturday night's main event on NBC. I think that was just America. So if you do 1.5 million people in just America,
Yeah, that's good.
and then you have the international feed that was either YouTube or whatever, 831,000 already puts them over 2 million views. If you take the 1.5 from net, again, we're not ratings people, so we're probably going to, but like if you take the 1.5 plus 8, you're already at 2.2 with just that. Now, if you include Peacock, it might actually be better than we thought. Dan saying Cody has to return with jet black hair, right? Maybe. Hoosier, no. Triple H was very adamant in that thing with Cody that he said one night only. I see Kevin Owens turning this into probably, a month's worth of stuff with both belts until they have their last match or their blow off match where Cody.
All I want now, can somebody bring back the white strapped Intercontinental Championship? Because that was a beautiful belt.
It was. I like the current IC belt that they added the blue. I do like
with
it.
The blue, yes, I agree.
Yeah, I do like it with the blue. However, the white strap on any belt is it's the way to go. The white strap makes every belt look better. I understand the white straps have kind of become the signature for the women's titles in WWE. That's fine. But I think the white strap in general, it's just, you can't get any better than that. But you can find me, JPJ Loves Gaming, on all social media platforms, including Blue Sky, over on Twitch, YouTube, all of it. We're usually playing some sort of video games on a daily basis on Twitch or TikTok and YouTube. So give me a follow over there. Like Drew said, every Tuesday and Thursday morning, 10 a.m., you'll see the two of us on your screens. WWE on Tuesdays, AEW on Thursdays. Firmly Love Wrestling. Follow us on Twitter at FirmlyLW. And then every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, you can find me right here on this channel with my man Pluggo for the flagship show here at Love Wrestling, Between Two Beards. We are having our holiday extravaganza on Thursday, kind of an open forum. We send the link out to all our friends. If you're available, you can pop in, shoot the shit this Thursday. Okay. Yep. This Thursday, our holiday extravaganza. We really don't have, we kind of go into this show without an agenda. We kind of throw the link out to all our Love Wrestling friends.
Isn't that all shows, though?
Yeah, for us, yes. But we kind of go in there just, hey, whoever shows up. We'll talk about whatever the hell we want to talk about. It's usually one of our more wild and funner shows of the year, but that's what we're doing. Also, next week, we'll have our Beardy Awards, the 4th annual Beardy Awards. So those awards should be released at some point before the end of the week, and you guys will have about a week to vote on them before we announce those winners on next week's edition of Between Two Beards. So a couple big year-ending editions of Between Two Beards, like Drew and I had mentioned last week and earlier today. Next week, kind of like we did Thanksgiving week, there will be shows at 10 a.m. on Tuesday and Thursday, like you are expecting, but they will be taped shows, as in Tuesday is Christmas Eve and Thursday is the day after Christmas. Those are busy times, so we will be taping shows. But we will be live this Thursday, 10 a.m. for Firmly AEW. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Appreciate all of you supporting us and supporting Love Wrestling in general. You guys know the drill. We love you very much. Until Thursday, for Drew, thank you. And you know the drill. Peace out.